Finally, let's cover the structures of the heart wall and pericardium. You will find these structures listed on your study guide and an image of the heart wall on your study guide as well.
The pericardium is a closed sac, so the heart literally beats within a closed sac, composed of two layers. The fibrous pericardium is anchored to the diaphragm and the great vessels. The serous pericardium contains two layers, the parietal layer, which is attached to the fibrous pericardium, and then we have the visceral layer, which is also called the epicardium, and it's attached directly to the myocardium, or the cardiac muscle tissue of the heart. Notice that there is this potential space between the two layers of serous pericardium. The cells of the serous pericardium secrete a lubricating fluid. This fluid ensures that there is very little friction between the visceral and parietal layers as they slide across one another as the heart beats. Under certain circumstances, the pericardial cavity can accumulate fluid, generally in response to inflammation, and in some instances this accumulated fluid can compress the heart and prevent it from beating properly. The heart wall, which makes up the mass of the heart and surrounds each of its chambers, is composed of an outer layer, which is the visceral layer of the serous pericardium, which we've just talked about. The middle layer, which is the thickest of the layers of the heart wall, the myocardium, contains the cardiac muscle cells responsible for contraction and propulsion of blood. And the inner layer, the endocardium, contains simple squamous epithelial cells which form a smooth, friction-free surface to ensure the smooth flow of blood through the heart. The cells of the endocardium are the same type of cells that line the blood vessels. Cells of the endocardium and the lining of the blood vessels are the only cells that come in contact with the blood as it flows through the cardiovascular system. So it's very important that there is very little resistance to blood flow provided by these cells.
Now let's look at the heart wall and components of the pericardium on an actual heart model. When you're looking at the heart model and looking at its surface, you're actually looking at the epicardium, or visceral layer of the serous pericardium. Looking at the dissection of the model, additional layers are revealed. The thick portion of the wall of a chamber of the heart is the myocardium, and lining the surface of a chamber is that low friction surface, or endocardium. What's not shown on the model is the parietal layer of the serous pericardium. If I were to take a plastic bag and cover the heart model, that plastic bag could serve as a representation of the parietal layer of the serous pericardium.